So once upon a time, there was a rabbi who made his living going around to different congregations and leading services. And he was renowned for being a terrific storyteller. And so, or sermonizer, I should say. And so one day, one afternoon, Saturday morning, Shabbat, he leads the service, he gives a sermon, just an amazing sermon. It was warm and emotional, but it also had intellectual content and people learned. It had humor, but it also brought tears to people's eyes at times. Just an amazing sermon. So as you would expect, after the service was over, there was a line of people coming up to him to, thank him and congratulate him. And the last person in line was a little old lady named Enid. And she walked up to him and she said, "Rabbi, you did good." And he said to her, "Well, Enid, when I'm up there, I just try and put myself aside and let God speak through me." To which Enid replied, "Not that good." So I have no pretense that I'm representing God. I thought it would be fair for me to talk about why I'm here, since I've asked all of you why you're here. And as I said, I am a student in the Mindfulness Meditation Teacher Certification Program. And that's the impetus for me being here. But it's not really it. I'm here because I want to be here, and because I've been coming to believe that doing this work is maybe the best avenue I have to making the world a better place. I think everybody here knows that I like haiku. So my haiku for today is, why meditation? Health and well-being for one, God for another. So let's talk about health and well-being. There are literally thousands of studies about the physiological benefits of meditation. Reducing blood pressure. When people go into fight, flight, freeze, which is an endemic problem in our society, since we do it in response to psychological and emotional threats, which is not how our bodies were designed for. So we spend way too much time in that space, and the body manufactures cortisol when you're in that space, and too much cortisol is not good for you. It improves immune system functioning in response. It slows age-related atrophy of the brain. It can mitigate the symptoms of depression and anxiety, lead to improvements in creativity, increased ability to resist addictive behaviors. Although I want to be clear that meditation alone is not sufficient for addictions, but it can be very helpful. And for those of you who are in 12-step programs, it's part of the program is, the 11th step, which calls for people to pray and meditate. In addition to the physical benefits, there are psychological benefits. And I'll just speak for myself. I had quite a difficult experience happen to me a little over a year ago. I lost a position that was important to me, and sort of a swath of my life disappeared. And it was hard. And meditation gave me access to a place of spacious awareness. And in that space, it didn't matter what my title was. It didn't matter what job I had. None of that mattered. And so in a certain sense, for a period of time, meditation was my oasis in the desert, because it was the place I could go to let go of the other things that burdened me. And I think it helped keep me sane through a difficult time. Now, is meditation all peaches and cream? No, it's not. Meditation helps you be with what is going on now, which is generally something we're not good at. But there's a meditation joke that I heard a teacher say, which is that meditation helps you feel better. It helps you feel depression better. It helps you feel anxiety better. It helps you feel sadness better. And that's all true. It does. And it can help you be with those feelings in a more constructive and less self-destructive way than you may have been in the past. And almost everybody has trauma in their life. And the severity of the trauma can vary from person to person. But there are times when, because we are coming to know ourselves and experience ourselves and see ourselves more clearly, we can experience feelings in a way that is potentially too much for us. And so I want to be clear that your first job is self-care. If a meditation gets to be too much, you can feel free to stop. You can feel free to stand and do standing meditation. You can do walking meditation. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If there's an area that's painful, perhaps you can find an area of your body that's not painful and reside in that area. And then maybe touch the pain for a little bit and then go back to the place that feels safe. But self-compassion and self-care are what this is about. And my title for this was, Basics of Mindfulness Meditation with an emphasis on compassion. And that's what I hope to emphasize. And we're not so good just being with things. There was a cartoon of a man walking on a beach, holding his phone, earbuds in his ears, clearly having an animated discussion. And the caption was, "I'm sorry, I can barely hear you with this goddamn ocean behind me." So I think that the psychological aspects of meditation are clearly beneficial. And I hope you will find some of those benefits. I have been meditating, again, somewhat off and on for 35 years, maybe more. And I always noticed that I didn't notice what meditation was doing for me until I stopped meditating. And then I found myself less calm, more irritable, and I realized what meditating had been doing for me, but it had become sort of a baseline, so I didn't notice it. There's also a spiritual aspect. Now, we have people here who are Jewish. We have people here who are not Jewish. We have people here who kind of self-identify as mystics and people that don't. I think each of us is spiritual in some way. And by that, I mean that we each have a desire for deep meaning and purpose in our lives. We want to feel connected to something that's bigger than our own small ego. Mystical Judaism talks about Moachin de Katlut, or small mind, and Moachin de Gadlut, or large mind. And I think each of us has a sense of the difference between small mind and large mind. Small mind is protective. It's narrow. It contracts. And large mind is expansive, and it's open, and it has a feeling of ease and richness and acceptance. Meditation is not a religion, and it works with all faith traditions. While this course is Buddhist in orientation, I'm not particularly learned in Buddhism, so this will be relatively generic. I think it'll work for everybody. It'll work for the people that want to meditate as part of their recovery. It'll work for the people that want calmness and space and graciousness in their life. And it'll work for the people that approach this with a sense of mysticism and coming to God. And hopefully it'll also be helpful for people that are in physical or psychological pain on a chronic basis. Meditation provides a vehicle for direct spiritual experience. It's been said that God or divine energy or universal consciousness or unbounded awareness, all of which I think are synonyms for one another, the life force, pick your term. All of them don't exist in the past or the future. They only exist in the present. So if you're trying to connect with God, however you conceive of God, you can't do it in your thoughts, and you can't do it in the future, and you can't do it in the past. You can only do it in the now. In a certain sense, the universal consciousness is very thin because it only exists one infinite moment at a time. It doesn't exist back then, and it doesn't exist out there because we're never out there. We're never back there. We're always here. We just don't want to recognize it. And meditation helps us recognize it. There are two wings of Buddhism. One is wisdom and the other is compassion. We'll be looking at compassion meditation as part of this course. There have been demonstrable changes in the brains, the structure of the brains of people who practice compassion meditation for periods of time. I just want to give you some snippets of the place where I think meditation can help you. So Kabir, a Sufi poet, wrote, "If you want the truth, I'll tell you the truth. Listen to the secret sound, the real sound, which is inside you." Mary is asking, is this a one-time class? There's 6 sessions. So there'll be 6 weeks. It'll be every week with the exception of March 6th, where I have another commitment, so we'll skip a week. Rumi wrote, "When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy." And on one of those silent meditation haikus that Deborah spoke about, I wrote, "Being present to this breath, so much better than medals or parades." So I can't promise you a new car. I can't promise you a changed spouse. I can't promise you more money. I can't promise you immunity from ill health, death for you or those you love. I can promise you the chance to find another way of living, an escape from the disappointments, the persistent disappointments we so often encounter in life, a way of being happy with what you have rather than having what you want, a way to be a more positive presence in the world. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And that's why I'm guiding you in meditation. And it is my deep prayer and fervent hope that you are able to find the silence that underlies all sounds and the joy of being that exists like a river underneath each of us. And in meditation, we can drill a well and tap that river. So with that, Deborah, if you would stop recording, and I'm going to open this up to questions, if there are any.